Welcome back, my lovely calamities. Today we're going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit the thrilling first season of Bridgerton. With the new season just around the corner, time is of the essence, so I thought it would be best to give you a quick overview of the entire season. However, if you're eager for a detailed breakdown of each episode along with my personal opinions, simply show your support by giving this video a thumbs up, and let's aim for 1,000 subscribers together. I can't express enough how grateful I am to all of you who have subscribed and supported my channel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's breakdown of Bridgerton Season 1. I'll grab your favorite drink and a bucket of popcorn because this season is packed with jaw-dropping twists and turns that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Rhyme sizzling historical drama Bridgerton, inspired by Julia Quinn's book series, is returning for its highly anticipated third season on May 16th. As we gear up for more romantic intrigue centered around Penelope, also known as Lady Whistledown and Colin Bridgerton, let's not forget the captivating love story of Daphne, played by Phoebe Dynevor, and the dashing Duke of Hastings, portrayed by Regina Page. To refresh your memory before diving into Season 3, here's a quick recap of all the scandal and romance from Season 1. In the opening episode of Season 1, we are transported to Grosvenor Square in 1813, where the stage is set for the upcoming marriage season in high society. The mysterious and sophisticated Lady Whistledown, voiced by Julie Andrews, serves as our guide, introducing us to the prominent families of the season, the Bridgertons and the Featheringtons. Daphne Bridgerton made her debut in society last year under the guidance of her brother Anthony, the eldest of the Bridgerton siblings. Their mother, Violet, portrayed by Ruth Gemmell, also supports Daphne as Anthony is often preoccupied with his own pursuits. The younger Bridgerton siblings, including Benedict, Eloise, and Colin, also share the limelight. Living across from the Bridgertons are the Featheringtons, led by Mother Portia, played by Polly Walker, who is eager to find suitable matches for her three daughters, Prudence, Philippa, and Penelope. Portia's husband, Lord Archibald, portrayed by Ben Miller, seems to be less involved in the matchmaking process. During the Grand Day debut and a presentation, each young lady adorns a magnificent crown made of delicate feathers. As their names are announced, they gracefully make their way down a lengthy aisle where they are scrutinized by the regal Queen Charlotte, portrayed by the talented Golda Rocheville. The Featherington sisters, being the first to step forward, unfortunately failed to capture the Queen's attention or favor. To make matters worse, poor Prudence even faints due to the tightness of her corset. However, fate takes a complete turn for Daphne. The Queen lavishes her with praise, declaring her perfection and elevating her status in the eyes of potential suitors. Lady Whistledown, always in the know, further proclaims Daphne as the season's incomparable, solidifying her newfound popularity. Greetings, esteemed reader. Allow me to introduce you to Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown is the town's very own gossip columnist with a flair for the dramatic. Her true identity remains a mystery, but that doesn't stop her from uncovering juicy secrets and insider information, which she shares in her scandalous society papers. Whistledown distributes these scandal sheets at her own discretion, leaving the public hungry for more and giving her an unparalleled level of influence. Get ready for Whistledown to spill the tea and turn this season of courtship into a wild ride. Marina Thompson, the underdog, the Marina Thompson, portrayed by Ruby Barker, shocks the upper class when she joins the Featheringtons, becoming the fourth member of their bustling social circle. Despite her distant connection to the Featherington family, Marina was raised on a rural farm. Her beauty captivates many suitors during calling day as she attracts a long line of potential suitors. Lady Danbury's Ball. Get ready for the grandest event of the season, Lady Danbury's Ball. It's a night filled with elegance and excitement, where everyone gathers to dance and socialize. Anthony finds himself in a bit of a predicament as he is tasked with accompanying Daphne to this prestigious affair. However, before the ball even begins, he seeks solace in the company of his mistress, the talented opera singer, seeing Anthony vents about the overwhelming weight of his responsibilities, unaware of the chaos he unintentionally creates for Daphne. With his impossibly high standards for a potential husband, he inadvertently scares away most suitors, leaving poor Daphne in a state of frustration. Bumbling Burbrook, clumsy Lord Nigel Burbrook makes his way towards Daphne during Lady Danbury's extravagant ball. Despite his lack of physical appeal, appearances hold little significance when it comes to the matchmaking game in Bridgerton. Burbrook persistently pursues Daphne, clumsily chasing after her and inadvertently causing her to collide with Simon, the dashing Duke of Hastings. But that's not the end of Burbrook's story. There's more to unravel. The Diamond and the Duke. The Rowena isn't the only unexpected addition to the mix. The Duke of Hastings, Simon Bassett, arrives in town to support his friend Will in his boxing career and take care of his late father's estate. Lady Danbury, who is related to Simon, invites him to her ball, but he's not interested in marriage. Daphne, unaware of his identity at first, learns that he's friends with Anthony and decides to keep her options open for dancing partners. As Lady Whistledown points out Daphne's lack of suitors and the Duke's aversion to marriage, Lady Danbury and Violet Bridgerton scheme to pair Daphne and the Duke up after a night at the opera. However, both Daphne and the Duke resist the matchmaking attempts. For now, party number 3 and conflicts of interest. The third major social event of the season is causing quite a stir for various reasons. Firstly, Marina Thompson's absence due to illness raises eyebrows, only for it to be revealed later that she is actually pregnant. Marina had met someone before he went off to war, and she left to be presented for marriage, and they fell in love and had a fling. Portia discovers this and becomes furious, fearing that Marina's illegitimate child could harm her chances of finding a husband if the truth comes out. Meanwhile, at the party itself, Penelope Featherington gets the opportunity to dance with her longtime crush, Colin Bridgerton, despite the scheming Cressida Cowper's attempt to sabotage it by spilling a drink on Penelope. In another corner, Anthony confronts Daphne and informs her that he has decided she will marry Lord Burbrook. Daphne strongly opposes this and steps outside for some fresh air, only to be followed by Burbrook himself. In a rude manner, he declares that she has no other options for marriage. Just as things escalate, Simon arrives to defend Daphne, but she surprises everyone by knocking Burbrook out with a punch. Daphne feels a mix of relief and worry, concerned that people might gossip if they hear about Burbrook getting too close to her, as even a slight breach of a lady's innocence and virtue can be scandalous. Daphne and Simon devise a plan to fool Lady Whistledown into believing they are a couple in order to shield Simon from the matchmaking mamas and their daughters, while also sparking curiosity in Daphne when potential suitors see the Duke's attention towards her. Playing pretend? Let's dive into the world of make-believe. In this classic scenario of going from foes to romantic partners, things are definitely heating up. Daphne finds herself in a tricky situation with a line of suitors at her doorstep, while Burbrook is left fuming after a visit to the Bridgerton residence, hoping to secure a marriage proposal. Duke steps in to save the day, revealing Burbrook's true intentions and making Anthony question his motives. However, Burbrook isn't backing down, pulling out a marriage license and resorting to blackmail to get what he wants from Daphne and her family. Drama. The Queen plays her hand. The Queen graciously invites Violet for a delightful tea, where she shares her belief that Daphne should marry the Duke. The Queen is convinced that this union will confirm her intuition that Daphne is a true gem. Meanwhile, Brimsley, the Queen's assistant, brilliantly portrayed by Hugh Sachs, subtly suggests to Violet that she should arrange a meeting with Burbrook's mother. Intrigued, Violet takes Brimsley's advice and invites Burbrook's mother over for a social gathering. How real does she know this is a clever ploy to gather information about Burbrook by allowing their maids to engage in conversation? Shockingly, it is revealed that Burbrook had a secret child with one of his staff members and sent both the girl and the baby away. As soon as Lady Whistledown catches wind of this scandalous news, Berbrooke's chances of pursuing Daphne are completely shattered. In the aftermath, Berbrooke hastily leaves town, creating opportunity for Daphne and the Duke to share a dance at yet another extravagant party. It is during this enchanting moment that sparks of emotion ignite between them. Marina gets back in the game. Portia is determined to find a suitable match for Marina at lightning speed, hoping it will divert attention from her scandalous past. Marina confides in Penelope, revealing that she continues to correspond with George Crane, her lover and the father of her child, even as he valiantly fights on the front lines. To add fuel to the fire, Marina makes things challenging for Portia by rejecting the advances of several men at yet another social gathering. Prince Friedrich, portrayed by the talented Freddie Stroma, graces the party with his presence, adding an air of royalty to the event. As the queen introduces Friedrich to Daphne, her influence on the social scene becomes evident once again. It is worth mentioning that Friedrich is not only a prince but also the queen's nephew. Initially, Daphne doesn't find herself immediately drawn to the prince. However, Friedrich finds her resistance intriguing, appreciating the challenge she presents. Their paths diverge momentarily when Daphne escapes the prince's company to admire the exquisite paintings donated by the Duke at an art exhibit. It is during this time that the chemistry between Daphne and the Duke intensifies even further. Meanwhile, Cressida Cowper goes to great lengths to capture the prince's attention. She approaches him as soon as he arrives and even goes as far as pretending to faint near him, hoping he will come to her aid. However, Friedrich remains unfazed by Cressida's attempts as his focus wavers due to Daphne's apparent interest in the Duke. Despite his reservations, the queen insists that Friedrich should at least give courting Daphne a chance. Meanwhile, with Marina, Portia's revelation leaves Marina in a state of distress as she realizes that George has not replied to her letter about her pregnancy. Doubts start to creep into Marina's mind, questioning George's loyalty towards her. However, Portia's actions take the situation to a whole new level of despair. Alongside her maid Varley, played by the talented Lorraine Ashburn, Portia fabricates a letter from George to Marina stating that he wants no involvement with their unborn child. Simon versus Prince Friedrich. Lady Danbury's warning to the Duke about the lack of a proposal seems to have had an effect as he decides to end things with Daphne. However, Daphne is not one to be deterred easily. She puts on a stunning dress and steals the show at a high society event, capturing everyone's attention as she gracefully descends the staircase. The Duke, although present at the party, seems disinterested as Prince Friedrich asks Daphne for a dance. The following day, Prince Friedrich presents Daphne with a necklace, causing quite a stir among the gossip mongers, including Lady Whistledown. Speculations about a potential proposal from the prince start to circulate. Meanwhile, Will implores the Duke to stay in town for one more day to support him in his boxing match. Daphne and the prince also attend the match, and during their conversation about the importance of family, Daphne begins to warm up to him. Later, at another grand ball hosted by Lady Danbury, Daphne finds herself in need of some fresh air after the prince's answers towards proposing. The Duke follows her outside, and what starts as an argument between them quickly escalates into a passionate kiss. Unfortunately, Anthony, Daphne's brother, witnesses the intimate moment and confronts the Duke, accusing him of taking advantage of Daphne's innocence. Anthony demands that the Duke do the honorable thing and marry her, but the Duke adamantly refuses. This refusal leads to a duel at dawn as Anthony challenges his close friend Simon. Although duels are illegal, they often result in the death of one or both participants. Leading up to the duel, Anthony cautions his brothers about the possible outcomes, death or exile. This means Benedict may have to step up as the head of the household. Daphne is terrified of the duel and pleads with Anthony to reconsider. Colin, on the other hand, doubts that either party will actually pull the trigger. Despite her fears, Daphne implores Colin to reveal the location of the duel, which he eventually does. Riding into the midst of the confrontation on horseback, Daphne is thrown off when her horse is startled by Anthony's gunshot. As tensions rise, Anthony aims his gun at the Duke, who in turn points his gun towards the sky. Daphne later confides in Simon that Cressida Cowper may have witnessed their encounter in the garden, leading her to believe that marriage is the only solution. Despite the Duke's initial refusal and his concern about not being able to provide an heir, Daphne remains resolute in her decision to marry him. Married life? On the night of their honeymoon, instead of returning to Hastings, Simon and Daphne decide to spend the night in a hotel. To Daphne's dismay, the Duke books them separate rooms, causing her frustration to rise. Despite their attempts to isolate themselves, they both find themselves seeking each other out for a conversation. After a series of exchanges, Simon reveals his sadness rather than anger, expressing his desire for Daphne to feel the same intense passion for him. In response, Daphne confesses her burning desire for him, leading to the consummation of their marriage. Upon their return to Hastings, Daphne and Simon engage in a passionate physical relationship. However, Simon consistently withdraws before climaxing, leaving Daphne puzzled. Sansa, unaware of the intricacies of conception, she doesn't question this behavior until she begins to piece things together after hearing certain remarks. It is then that her lady's maid enlightens her about the entire process, and Daphne realizes that Simon had not been entirely truthful. During one intimate encounter, Daphne takes charge and assumes the dominant position, compelling Simon to relinquish control, shocked by this unexpected turn of events. He finds himself in a state of disbelief, while Daphne becomes upset with him for deceiving her. This revelation severely strains their marriage, placing it on shaky ground. Marina's misery. Amidst the chaos in paradise, Marina devises a cunning plan to win over Colin Bridgerton. Her intention is not only to secure a marriage with him, but also to make him believe that the child she carries is his own. Although Marina harbors genuine feelings for Colin, her attempts to seduce him go unanswered. However, to everyone's astonishment, Colin proposes to her. This unexpected turn of events catches the attention of Lady Whistledown, who wastes no time in spreading the scandalous news of Marina's pregnancy in her pamphlet. Daphne, upon hearing this, rushes back to the Bridgerton household to offer her support, accompanied by Simon, despite their own relationship troubles. Fortunately, Colin manages to extricate himself from the complicated situation. Meanwhile, Marina, desperate to terminate her pregnancy, resorts to herbal tea, but to no avail. Unexpectedly, George Crane's brother arrives, thanks to Daphne's efforts in connecting him with the general's wife and uncovering George's whereabouts. Sadly, George had lost his life on the front lines, but his brother Philip believes that marrying Marina will fulfill George's wish to provide for his child. Initially, Marina declines the proposal, believing she had already caused harm to her unborn baby. However, as she feels movement in her stomach, she realizes that her child is still alive, prompting her to accept Philip's offer of marriage. Simon's past. While Simon is busy attending yet another one of Will's thrilling boxing matches, Daphne takes it upon herself to embark on a little detective work in his office. After some careful snooping, she finally uncovers the truth behind Simon's adamant refusal to have an heir. To her absolute astonishment and confusion, he reveals that he made a solemn promise to his father on his deathbed, swearing that he would never bring forth an heir. Simon's father, a man of unwavering perfectionism, was incredibly harsh on him during his childhood, especially when he struggled with speech impediments. As a young boy, Simon even attempted to reach out to his father through heartfelt letters while away at school, but his father callously disregarded them, deeming Simon a disgrace to the family name. One last go around. At the grand finale of the extravagant dance thrown by the Duke and Duchess of Hastings, the atmosphere is filled with a mix of excitement and anticipation. Daphne and Simon enter the event with the intention of going their separate ways, but fate has other plans. As they share one last dance, a sudden downpour clears the dance floor, leaving only the two of them. In a heartfelt moment, Daphne expresses her understanding of the Duke's past and assures him that he is deserving of love, flaws, and all. The night ends with them returning to Hastings, where the Duke opens up about his fear of loneliness. Meanwhile, Eloise is on a mission to uncover the identity of Lady Whistledown. With a tip from the Queen's assistant, she rushes to intercept Lady Whistledown's carriage, warning her of the impending danger of exposure. Unfortunately, Eloise misses the chance to unmask the mysterious gossip columnist. Penelope mustered up all her courage to confess her feelings to Colin, only to be interrupted by him with unexpected news. He was leaving the very next day for a travel adventure. Happily ever after some time, Daphne and the Duke finally make love again, and Simon decides not to withdraw. Moving ahead, they welcome a lovely baby boy whose name remains undecided by the end of the season, but will likely follow the Bridgerton family custom of starting with the letter A. Tying up loose ends, there are some notable mentions when it comes to siblings and subplots in the story. Philippa Featherington catches the attention of a potential suitor, while Benedict Bridgerton embraces a wilder side of life by immersing himself in the world of eccentric artist parties. He meets Mr. Henry Granville, played by Julian Ovenden, who happens to be the host of these extravagant gatherings. Additionally, Benedict becomes involved with the modest Madame Delacroix, portrayed by Catherine Drysdale, after encountering her at a rather unconventional party. But little does he know, Delacroix is married to Granville's wife, played by Sandra Tellers, and he even stumbles upon Granville engaging in a romantic encounter with another man. Penelope is actually the brilliant writer behind Lady Whistledown, but her best friend Eloise Bridgerton remains oblivious to this revelation. That was the highlight of the season for you. I'm so curious to hear. Personally, I found it a bit troubling when Daphne continued to pursue Simon after he asked her to stop. It seemed a bit selfish. I believe she should have shown him some compassion instead of persisting. After doing some research, I discovered that the situation was portrayed differently in the book compared to the Netflix series. What are your thoughts on this? And can you believe that these mothers would focus on finding their daughters good husbands without teaching them about the birds and the bees? It's quite shocking. I feel sorry for them. It's almost like a slave auction where you have to pay a dowry and settle for an older suitor if you're no longer in your prime. Disgusting. Well, my dear viewers, until next time, take care of yourselves.